Welcome. I'm Joanne Law, Director of Studies for Mediation Institute and co-founder of Interact Support. I'm on a mission to prevent violence by training and supporting dispute resolution practitioners. Mediation Musings is a series of conversations with mediators and for mediators. So if you're interested in dispute resolution, follow the channel. We're intending to update new recordings each week. Enjoy. Welcome, Natalie. It's wonderful to be chatting with you again. I'm talking with Natalie Armstrong Motin, the founder of Marketing Resolution, which is a wonderful play on words. Your business is, or website rather, is howtomarketmymediationpractice.com, and you're one of that rare breed of dispute resolution professionals that absolutely understand the importance of marketing. So welcome, Natalie.
Thank you so much for having me, Joanne. It's a great pleasure to talk to you again.
Yes, the same here. So look, we're doing with Mediation Musings with this podcast, we're really wanting to have conversations so that our listeners can, I guess, be a bit of a fly on the wall in a conversation about something that's relevant to mediation. And because of, your experience and focus area, I really wanted to talk about marketing because it is an area that concerns me greatly with the people that we train and support. What are your thoughts? Are mediators typically wonderful marketers?
Oh, Joanne, I love my industry, but sadly, no, we are not good. We are not good at marketing and business development. And I have to say that conversation over the last 25 years has never changed. It's the biggest hurdle. People, they go into mediation because they love it, because they have a passion for it, or for helping people, or for a non-adversarial, existence. I think that that's fantastic. But what so many of the people that I talk to really can't get passionate about, and will eventually be their frustration or even their undoing, is that they forget they're primarily business people. They're primarily entrepreneurs. They happen to be in the resolution industry. Yes. And they love their industry. They love what they do, but they spend all of their time and money and efforts on the side taking more mediation classes. That's great. Reading books about mediation and communication, also super. Attending mediation conferences, fantastic. But they don't attend any business seminars. They don't read business books. They don't go to marketing seminars. They don't read marketing books. They don't talk about business development in the same passionate way that they talk about their resolution practice or their resolution industry. And that leaves people frustrated. And if you're really on top of it, a full-time practice takes me 18 months to 2 years to build up.
Okay, well that's a good timeline. So when you're working with your clients, is that this typically to get them up to that level where they're working full-time?
Yes, absolutely. From zero to full-time practice takes me 18 months to 2 years to build.
Okay, wow. And with your experience, so we might need to add a little bit onto that for someone that's...
So you can imagine, if you have no help whatsoever, how frustrating it would be to try to build a full-time practice. If you don't have an inclination toward business development, entrepreneurship, it becomes really hard for people, and they tend to let it go. And that's the exact opposite of what needs to happen.
Yeah.
And that's too bad, because we lose too many really good providers.
Yeah, I absolutely agree, and it's really a major concern for us at Mediation Institute. So we a lot of our professional development is around that. We run a practice development mastermind group, and we're really trying to help people to support each other and and be as excited about marketing their practice as they are about the work. Because the marketing, it is information marketing that we need to do, I think. What are your thoughts about that? Like, as you know, we talk about marketing as if it's here's a marketing. It's not quite that
thing. Well, marketing is an active verb. It's not a thing that you do.
Yes.
You can run a marketing campaign. You can do those things, but marketing is an active verb, and it's really a way of viewing your interaction with everyone and everything around you. The most successful entrepreneurs have a few things in common. One of them is they're early risers. They get up early.
Oh, I do that. I'm usually up at 5 or 6 at the most.
There you go. Yeah, our alarms here go off at 5 a.m. The most successful entrepreneurs take care of themselves. They exercise, they eat right, they understand the importance of quiet time for themselves. They have a nice life business balance. That's really important to have as well.
Yeah.
Successful business people make lists.
Yes.
And they don't just make a list because they like making lists. I love making lists. I love to make lists. What I really, really love, though, is checking things off my list. That gives me such a deep, geeky pleasure. I can't even begin to describe it. And so I know that my own personal routine, I get up at 5 a.m. I put on my earbuds, and I put on a business or a marketing or a social media educational podcast in my ears.
Yeah.
And then I exercise, and I give my body that time to wake up, and I'm educating my brain, and I'm incentivizing myself. I'm motivating myself with new ideas, or maybe even just reinforcing an idea I've already had, but clarifying that idea while I'm walking the dog, or I'm on the treadmill, or whatever it is that I'm doing. And that start routine, that early morning routine, I think is really, really key. And I know that not everybody is a morning person, but establishing a routine for yourself to give your practice that care, that love that it needs to grow and thrive, because it is an entity, it is a thing, and it does need that love and care. Once you get those things done, then it all comes down to, what did you put on your list? What are the actionable items that you've put on your list to accomplish?
Yeah. Okay. That's that perspective of your practice as your business as an entity, as a living thing. That's a really interesting way of looking at things. And I guess with that mindset, taking care of your business makes a lot more sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's like having a greenhouse full of plants. If you don't give them the right light, if you don't water them, feed them, if you don't turn the soils, if you don't provide fertilization, you're not caring for them, they're going to die. And it's the same with your business. You have to love it and care for it and pet it and say nice things to it and encourage it. It's
okay, everyone, if you're listening, take note. You're nurturing your business as you should. Or is it a sad
yourself?
Plant?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I guess the analogy would be that we hear quite often that to be a good parent you have to be good to yourself. You can't be good to the other humans in your household if you're not caring for yourself. Yeah. And it's the same for a business. If you're not giving it its due attention, it can't be there for you. It can't pay you back. So you do have to pay it forward in time and activities. And to go back to what you were talking about, marketing as an active verb, it's not something that you just do once. It's something that you have to do regularly.
Yes.
So you have to be constantly involved in it, and it does become wearing. And so it's important for us to be gentle with ourselves and move forward with that kind of awareness in our practice.
So I guess, as if to continue our metaphor, as marketers, particularly in this type of industry, we need to be gardeners rather than hunters.
Exactly. Well, but also, that kind of mentality also leads to what really works for our industry, and that is permission-based marketing.
Yeah.
And permission-based marketing is much different than running an advertisement in a newspaper or, running an email campaign, those kinds of things. Permission-based marketing are the things that you and I have talked about several times, and those things are writing, speaking, networking, training. Those are the core things that we do, and we use primarily social media to get them done.
Yeah.
But educating our primary, secondary, or tertiary target markets about who we are, what we do, how we do it, why we do it, with whom we do it, all of the things that they need to know about our industry. But it's done in such a way that they gain something from the communication. They learn something, they get something, they achieve something, they realize something. But all of our efforts are not about me.
Yeah.
It has to be about them. It's about the recipient. And that's called permission-based marketing.
Okay. No, that's a really important aspect. And one of the things that I try and get to our guys is to think about, who is it you're marketing to? It isn't always the end user, the person that's going to come to the mediation. Often it's the person that will refer them, the psychologist, the lawyer, the people that are working with people who have a problem with conflict, which I suppose is your layers, primary, secondary, tertiary people. Is that what you mean by that?
Well, it's sources of referral, and it's also gatekeepers.
Yep.
And we, I'll give you an example. When I had a big staff and I had, a handful of people answering the phone.
Yeah.
And a new client or, prospective new client would call in. They were, I found out, a completely different person with my staff than they were with me.
Okay.
So from time to, it's a bit like having dinner with the person that's horribly rude to the waitstaff.
Ah, yes. Yep.
And then they're gracious with the people at the table. And so what I learned was that if the phone was ringing, if it got to 2 rings, I would pick up the phone and answer my own phones. The prospective client didn't know that I wasn't the secretary. They didn't know who I was. And if they were horrible to me, then my immediate response was, I'm sorry, our client roster is extraordinarily full at the moment, but thank you so much for calling. And because they assumed that I had no authority, that I had no power, that I was just the gatekeeper.
Yeah.
Gatekeepers have a lot of power. And so if your primary, secondary, or tertiary target market has a gatekeeper, be sure that you give them the respect and the graciousness that, honestly, every human deserves to have. But be professional in every situation. You don't ever know who's the person in authority, who's giving the referral. Trust me, if there's a law firm looking for a mediator and you're a horrible person with the secretary for the attorney that you want to hear a case for, you're not going to get the case. It's not going to happen.
No, no, absolutely not. And I guess we need to remember gatekeeper's job is to keep out people and things that are dangerous and open the gate for the people that are going to be good.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly right. And so you want to make it easy for people to refer work to you or to allow you to pass through the gate and get to the authority or the decision maker or the client.
Yeah.
And those kinds of things are things that you happen to do really, really well. And it's a simple use of technology. So when I want to talk to you or engage with you, you've set up your website, you've set up your calendaring system, you've set up your response systems, you've set up your technology so that even though I'm in France and you're in Australia and there's a vast time difference between us, my communication with you is seamless and easy and pleasant.
Yeah, well, that's what we want. That's what I want, and I know that's what you want. So, and we're so fortunate that the technology's there now that allows us to do that if we're not frightened of it.
It absolutely is, and it's something that we all need to. I'm not a tech savvy person. I was born just a bit too late. I went to university with a super cool electric typewriter. So computers and technology, that's not my mother tongue like it is for a lot of people. And I have to really work at technology. And it can be a challenge, it can be frustrating, but it's really easy to find someone to help you, or it's easy to go onto the chat boards and get support. Or, you go next door and find some 12-year-old kid that has a master's degree in, technology already.
Yeah.
But those kinds of things are really important. Making it easy for people to refer cases to us, and making it easy for people to communicate, making it easy for people to calendar, making it easy for people. If you're the really odd exception, I mean, really, really, really rare exception of a mediator that can be standoffish or difficult to reach, and you still have clients, I can think of about 3 people worldwide for whom that works.
Yeah.
And that's it. Out of 36,000 people, I can think of 3. Don't be that person.
No.
Don't be that person.
No, absolutely not.
So, and let me give you an example of another way to do it. You can use just good common sense. You can just be nice to people. There was a client that I wanted to land in San Francisco, and this is before email and before technology and all of those kinds of things. And the assistant with whom I was working and trying to get to the next level was just a horribly overworked, probably verbally abused person in the office. And every time I called, I could just feel that this person was having a horrible day every time. And I tried always to be pleasant and, how are you and how's your day? And but she never had time. She was so pushed and so, just so overworked that she couldn't relax ever.
Yeah.
So what I did was call the bodega that was on the ground floor of their building and bought her a pint of chocolate chip Haagen-Dazs and told the guy that I would pay him more than double what the ice cream was worth if he would just get in the elevator, walk it upstairs, and hand it to her, and put a little sticky note on it that says, I hope you have a great day. It cost me a pint of Haagen-Dazs and a delivery fee. Yeah. My first biggest client.
I can imagine.
Those people are important.
Yeah, what a lovely lateral way of thinking about it. Oh, she really needs some ice cream. So that's
yeah, she needed a vacation, but I could only afford a pint of Haagen-Dazs at the time. So, but those kinds of things, and that is probably not something that most of your listeners would think of as marketing. And so there are a lot of activities that are available to us that have nothing whatsoever to do with the traditional marketing that you're going to get in the book. It's about using your mediator skills and being aware of what's happening around you, being aware of, ulterior motives, being aware of motivating factors, being aware of power dissonance, all of those kinds of things. And you can, I'm going to say the word use, and that has kind of a negative connotation, but you can, in a marketing judo kind of a way. Use those activities, use that energy, and motivate it in a direction that is beneficial.
Yeah, so that's right. I agree. There's no reason we shouldn't use our mediation superpowers for good in in helping to build our practices. Because
I think we would all be better served if we did. Yeah.
Yeah, and look, I think you're quite right. I think that sometimes mediators don't make the connection. They think marketing is some horrible, chasing down and forcing people activity, where if it's done properly in the modern way, it's not that at all.
It's not, and I know that when I talk to people, a lot of them are a little bit shy or anxious when I ask them if they would speak publicly or do a training for their primary target market or something like that. But there are resources that don't make you front and center always.
Yeah.
And one that I really, really like is a web resource, and it's helpareporter.com.
Okay, reporter. Yeah.
Helpareporter.com, and it's free. And what you do is log on to helpareporter.com. You register your name and your specialty. What is it that you are an authority on? What is it that you have a credible, authoritative resume about? What's your passion? What's your specialty? What's your strength? And you list those things on the website. You don't have to upload a CV. You don't have to put up any information, in great detail at all. And then every day, journalists from around the globe put up a list. You'll get it in your email box, and you get 2 a day, 1 in the morning and 1 in the afternoon. And they send you a list of all of the articles that they're doing research about. Yeah. And you pick the one that you can talk about. And so, let's see, yesterday evening, there were 3 requests for information about sexual harassment laws and anti-bullying laws. Yeah. So I forwarded those requests to my clients that have that as a specialty, and they respond directly to the reporter. I think it's a 300-word abstract that you submit. If they like what you've pitched them, then they contact you back, and you're quoted as a source, or in my case, I just write the article and they put it up under their byline and give me credit for it.
Okay, yeah.
But those kinds of articles, and there's at least 1 or 2 in every update morning and afternoon for people to respond to. Oh. You get a link to your website, you get a link to your podcast or your YouTube channel, you're quoted. You can then use that link on your social media accounts. You can forward it to your primary and secondary target markets and say, here's something that might be of interest to you. This topic might help you. You can, use that. And then it's not you marketing yourself. Then it's that someone else finds you the credible, authoritative figure on that, and you put it out to the world.
Yeah, well, that's a great idea for people. I hadn't come across that site, so we'll definitely be adding that as a link with the information about from this podcast. So, yeah. Now, one of the things that you did mention earlier was how much you like lists and crossing things off. Building the list.
I do.
Oh, it's. I'm just imagining you very happily doing that, but it's fantastic. But sometimes the problem people have is what to put on their list, particularly if they're moving into a new area. Any thoughts about that?
Well, it's been years and years, but I helped a client of mine, Diana Mercer, build her practice in Los Angeles called Peace Talks. And one of the ways that we built her practice was that she wrote a book.
Okay.
And her book was a book that got her a publicist, it got her a publication house, and it got her out and about speaking about what we do and how we do it. It was aimed primarily at a group of ADR practitioners who could provide her referrals. And so the way that she got the conversation rolling was she wrote a marketing book for mediators. Okay. And that gave her an entry, that just opened the door for her to talk to the people that were the primary sources of her referral. Right. So it wasn't that she wanted to have a marketing company. It wasn't that she wanted to do marketing for mediators. It's that we identified that was the easiest way for her to open the door and have the real conversation that she ultimately wanted to have with people. But in writing this book, what we did was put together a list, a heavenly list of things that people can do. And it sounds big. It's probably about 50 things long, but a lot of them are very, easily actionable. And it's a nice short list. Some of them have to do with staff. So if you have in your office staff members, if you have someone answering your phone, you want to be sure that your staff are your ambassador.
Yes.
It's really important for them to have business cards. It's important for them to know how to respond to information on the telephone. It's important for them to be able to talk about you and your services when they're out and about in their communities. And for some people that might mean that you give them an incentive program of some sort to bring cases in. So whatever is comfortable for you, but it's really most important for them to understand that providing potential and prospective clients service, that's the primary goal. Selling them is our ultimate goal, but if you don't provide them service, you can't sell them.
No.
We do. So providing service in whatever form that, that takes for us as professionals, that really is the key for your staff to understand, is that they're the ambassador on our behalf. We talked a little bit about gatekeepers. Another thing on my list here is you want to be sure that you are not just writing, speaking, training, and networking with your ultimate primary target market.
Yeah.
Don't forget the gatekeepers. They too have publications. They too have organizations, associations, seminars. They too have continuing education credits that they need to achieve. They too talk to their fellow gatekeeper professionals. And if you do poorly, word goes around fast. But if you do a good job for them, word goes around just as quickly. And so be sure that you're working with the gatekeepers in the same way that you would work for the end client. Most of us are pretty good, I think, about recognizing what our physical environment needs to be for our clients.
Yeah.
But having a physical environment that is client focused is super important. So whether or not
by that,
well, think about your primary target markets and what's their physical comfort zone. Do they have an expectation that they're going to be served canapé on silver trays? Do they come with their children? So if your focus is primarily on families, then you need to have a color scheme, artwork, toys, books. You need to have those things that keep children occupied and happy so that their parents can get done what needs to be done.
No, that's a good point.
Yeah, things that I think a lot of us don't really think about is color in our office and its impact on the way that we process information. So you'd want to have soothing colors. Yeah. Green is the color easiest for our eyes to filter. Having plants is important. Having artwork that has no political anything about it. So yes. Landscapes or abstracts, but there should be no real emotion or political agenda or a personal statement of any sort in your artwork. Yeah. Lighting is really important. The big overhead lights that so many offices have, they have a B-flat hum that sort of grates on your inner ear, and makes it difficult for us to sit under them for very long. So maybe add some different lighting, add some lamps, add some spotlights, add some lighting that would be, you know, a little gentler on people. You want to have things like tissues available. You want to have snacks that are appropriate for your primary target market. So you might want to keep in mind gluten-free, halal, kosher, vegetarian, all of those kinds of things. If your primary target market is concerned with those food issues, be sure you have snacks that are appropriate for them. You want to have beverages that are appropriate for them. If you have a car park that charges, be sure you validate their parking, pay for their parking.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely, because all of those frustrations and even just letting them know where parking is, you know, on your booking or, you know, your confirmation, making sure that all of that information's there so they, when they're running late on the day, you know, they know where to go and how to get there and where to park.
Yeah, and if most of your cases are full day cases, you know, offer to have meals catered in if they prefer delivery, or provide them a list of restaurants that are local so that they can, you know, step out, get some fresh air, and find something to eat and, you know, take a break healthfully and then come back to you. Those little touches, you know, treating your clients in your office like royalty. If royalty were visiting your office, what would you do for them? For your clients, they're the royals in your life, and you want to be sure that they're happy and comfortable and able to proceed.
The reason I chuckled is my grandmother always used to say, "Oh, look at the mess. What if the Queen came for dinner?" It's very unlikely the Queen was ever going to come for dinner, but that was she always agreed with you.
That's funny. My grandmother used to tell us always to treat your guests like family and your family like guests.
Beautiful. That's very nice.
Yeah. And that has served me well for decades. So those kinds of things. One thing that you and your staff should be doing already, but I'll remind you, is following up with people. And having a quick follow-up is super important. And again, it goes back, I think, to the way in which we might use technology. If I'm in a hearing room all day long, I can't return a call to someone who's really in pain and in that specific moment needs my service. And if I can just have a friendly hand out, if I can just have a communication with that person, that gives me time and them time for a human to get back to them if we're unable to get back to them.
Yeah.
But having
sorry I cut across you, but yeah, even Facebook, if you've got a Facebook page, it's easy to have a little message there. So if someone contacts you and you're not available, the message says, you know, lets them know what to expect. I mean, yeah, as mediators, we manage expectations, don't we? And we need to bring that.
We do, but we're frequently, if we're dealing with unrepresented clients, these are people that they're frustrated, they're confused, they're tired, they're scared, they're nervous, they're stuck, and they need help. And when we're dealing with people in that particular situation, they have to feel a respectful, loving hand come back to them in any way that you choose, autoresponders or, you know, a voice message.
But just, so they don't go off into nowhere land. Because when you're like that, it, you know, minutes feels like hours and hours feels like forever.
Exactly. And so then you'll get those people as clients. Now you've got them as clients, and the same rules for follow through apply. If you say that you're going to call them at 10 o'clock with your calendar open, you know, you've got a grace period of about 4 minutes before they start to become a little bit frustrated with you. So when you say that you're going to do something, do what your mother told you and follow through. You know, you gave your word, now live up to it.
Yeah.
So that's important. The other thing that is on my list is having an easy elevator pitch. So that when we're having an interaction with people at a dinner party or in an elevator, or it's you're at a diner and you overhear a conversation, if you have not a strictly scripted, but an easy conversational elevator pitch to deliver, that's important to have that tool in your back pocket so that when someone says, what do, you can answer in a way that is not patronizing, in a way that isn't standoffish, but in a way that encourages a follow-up conversation. It encourages a dialogue.
Yeah.
And so it might be that my husband and I are out having dinner, and the people on queue behind us are, having a heated conversation about a business dispute. Well, they're directly behind me, and although it might seem a little bit odd, I frequently turn around and say, I'm so sorry, but I couldn't help but overhear your conversation. And I own a marketing company that internationally promotes mediators and arbitrators, and my clients might be able to help you with your case. They are fast, friendly professionals, and they can keep your case confidential. Let me give you my card, and if you're interested, I'm more than happy to be a resource and introduce you to some of them and the processes that they provide.
Beautiful.
And it's not scripted. It's just a conversation informing people about who we are and what we do. But having that elevator pitch, having that rehearsed to a degree, conversational, that interjectional bit, I think that really pays off because it lets us start conversations.
Yeah, and I bet it helps to cool them down a little bit in the line as well.
So far, it's never hurt. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So far, it's served us really well.
Yeah.
So, I think one of the other challenges that's here on my list is continuing that dialogue. So once you've established it, once you meet somebody and you recognize that they're on your primary, secondary, or tertiary target market list, now what do you do with them?
Yeah.
Great, I have a business card. Now what do I do? Well, what do you do? When we talk about how much I love making lists, I also like making calendars. And one of the easiest things to do is to sit down and create for yourself a calendar, a year, 2 years, or even 5 years, and plan out a way in which you can connect with your primary, secondary, or tertiary target markets. And it should be something that's in your comfort zone that you're going to do. And the things that are outside your comfort zone, or you simply don't want to do, or you don't have time to do, then you outsource those things. So one of the first things you'll want to do on your list is get all of your social media accounts in order.
Okay. And what does in order mean?
Well, getting them in order means that your avatar, your logo, your photograph, it should be the same on every single platform.
Yes. Yes, I
so
agree.
that when people click from place to place, they go, oh, there's Joanne. Oh, I know her. That's Joanne. Oh, look, there's Joanne. Hi, Joanne. And they see you. And what it does is allows a virtual introduction to you.
Yeah.
And that's really important. Yeah.
Oh, it is. Yeah. And people, I've gone a step further and got it on my email footer. So I never have a problem with people not knowing who I am if I arrange to meet them at a coffee shop or something.
And you and I are giggling about it, but that puts them at ease.
Yeah, it does.
That makes it easier for them, and those things are important. Your social media marketing accounts need to be consistent in their names. So it's marketing resolution, marketing resolution, marketing resolution, marketing resolution, Joanne Law, Joanne Law, Joanne Law, Joanne Law. So there's a consistency there, and that's really important. And then I know that it can be a daunting task to put content out to all of your social media platforms. So you can be a little bit tech savvy, and for little of nothing, you can put together a platform like Hootsuite.
Yeah.
And you use Hootsuite, you upload your content to Hootsuite, and then you schedule it, and Hootsuite sends it out to Twitter and LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram, or whatever your social media platform preferences are. And in that way, so for example, the way I do it is I sit down one day a month and I upload all of the articles, all the videos, all the informational pieces, and it's just one day a month. And then for that whole month, a program is working for me and I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
You know, my articles are out there, my information is out there, people are being contacted. And so for me, that's the easiest and the best use of my time.
So it's a bit like installing an automatic watering system for your garden, and you just do maintenance once a month.
Yeah, it is. It's the drip system, you know, for social media. But having your social media consistent, and a lot of it can be. It doesn't even necessarily have to be about you. It can be about something that's happening in the industry. So if you happen to be handling human resource anti-sex harassment cases, you might want to provide for that target market recent legal updates. You don't have to be a lawyer to send a legal update. No. If you're a lawyer, it's easy to send a legal update, but you don't have to have a legal background to send legal updates. Your clients will want that information. They need to know whether or not they're compliant. So you can, it doesn't have to be about marketing you. It can be about, you know, anything that they're interested in.
Well, that's the thing. And, you know, we're thinking in terms of curation. So if there's people that are producing that and they love to do that, you can curate. So you put, you know, a sentence or two in front and then their content that if, you know, if it's relevant and good and that makes it very easy, or even just, you know, forwarding as long as you're top and tailing it.
That's exactly right. For as long as you're giving credit, you can, you know, put out an article written by someone else, theoretically not another mediator, not your competition.
No, unless they, you know, are somewhere completely, completely separate, or, but it might, if you're a mediator, it might be a law firm that's putting out really good content in your niche area, you know, or something like that.
Exactly. Yeah. So also on my list, to make it easier for your clients, be sure that all of your forms and your processes are in good working order and easy to use. And if you're dealing with those cases that are highly emotional, you might want to provide a pre-mediation workbook. Canadian mediator Joyce Odidison has a pre-mediation workbook, and what that does is let her clients go through the emotional process of some of the issues, how they want to handle that, how they want to work through it, and so that by the time they come to her mediation room, they are really well prepared. They're relaxed, they've done a self-assessment, they've gone through a bit of the process, and they're ready to move forward. And so she finds that they come in far less fearful, far less anxious. They feel prepared, they feel confident, and they're ready to go. And so if you're dealing with people that are in high emotion situations, having a form like a pre-mediation workbook can be really helpful. It's helpful for you, and it's really helpful for your clients. And having those systems put together, and it's having forms and systems put together from first contact through final billing, through follow-up, through gathering testimonials or referrals. All of those processes need to be on a list and then followed up on. It's, you know, there's also a point at which each of us during that process needs to remember to trust our gut. And I don't really have a better way of saying it, but we all kind of know somehow, intuitively, instinctively, that it's just never going to work with these people. And as business people, once you get that sensation, once you feel it, just let them go. Don't fight for business that is going to make you regret answering the phone. Don't fight to have a client that's going to upset you. Don't fight for that. Life is short and precious.
It is, and it's no, I think that's great advice, because sometimes, particularly if people are starting out, they feel that there's a bit of a lack, and they're just desperately wanting to fill their books. But those clients that instinctively are going to be hard work are really going to be hard work.
Yeah, exactly. In my situation, I remember when I first started my company, I took any and every client that would come my way. And there was one day that the phone was ringing and ringing and ringing and ringing and ringing and ringing. And the sound of the phone had created in me this Pavlovian response to go, ugh, I really hope it's not this person, or this person. No entrepreneur, no business person wants to have that response to a ringing phone.
No.
Our response should be, oh, the phone's ringing. Who could it be? And you should be excited about it. You really should be drooling in anticipation to talk to the person on the other end. And so I quickly assessed my client book, and I fired more than 50% of my client roster.
Oh, really? Wow.
And that day was so liberating, so freeing, so lovely, because then I got back to the place that I really enjoyed, and that was working with people.
Yeah.
And so you don't want to create, don't repeat my mistake. Don't create for yourself a group of people that you don't enjoy working with or helping. So when your gut says, this is not the best for you, this is not a good fit, this is not, this one's going to keep you up at night, maybe take a pass.
Yeah.
And
too busy, refer them to someone else, maybe someone you don't like, someone you do like.
For as much as my internal naughty part of me would like to do that, I don't ever do that. I always have a professional front. I always have a front that's helpful and appropriate, and I always provide them the best resource, the best referral, and the best service I can. It's been my experience that those people that are super, super difficult have very little hesitation in telling everyone they meet that you don't provide good service.
I'm sure, absolutely, yeah. And I mean, we're talking about people that are sort of wandering through life, high conflict, everyone always, feeling the need for someone to blame. So
it's a certain sector of humanity, and you just need to very politely encourage them to keep walking down the sidewalk, and you do it with a big smile on your face and the greatest professionalism that you possibly can, and you wish them well. And I do truly wish them well. I wish them success. I want them to do well, just not in the chair across from my desk.
Exactly. As Bill Eddy talks about it from the High Conflict Institute, you can't be too rejecting. You can't have them too close, but you definitely can't be rejecting, or you'll end up with complaints and all sorts of things going on.
Exactly. And I love my clients, and I like them as human beings. I like the work they do. I like talking to them. Several of them have come to visit me in France. So I like having that kind of relationship with people. I really do. And those people that I think, I could do fine with, they're excellent clients as well. And then there's those people that I think, oh, I just don't want to get up at 2:00 in the morning to talk to that person. So I don't take them on. I'm a lot choosier now in my old age. So.
Yeah. Oh, well, I suppose that 2:00 time zone difference makes a bit more of a threshold as well.
Yeah. You need to really like your client if you're going to get up at 2:00 in the morning and put some lipstick on so that you can talk to them.
Absolutely. So look, I really enjoy having a chat with you, and I'm mindful of time. Now, one thing I know that you are planning to do is launch a YouTube channel. Could you tell me a little bit more about what you're doing there?
Thank you so much for asking. I am, trying to teach this old dog a few new tricks, and launching a YouTube channel is one of those things. And what I found was that I was unnecessarily anxious about using that technology. When I put my YouTube channel together, what I learned was that it's actually quite simple to do. It doesn't require a great deal of technical expertise.
No.
And so I put together Marketing Resolution. It's a YouTube channel, and you can search for my name. You can search for Marketing Resolution. You can search by topic. It's really easy to put it together. It's easy to do the videos. For me, the easiest is Zoom, because it allows me to record the audio, the video, And it comes immediately upon closing the conversation with someone. It sends me the file. The file then is super easy to upload to YouTube. And one of the reasons I think that having a technology resource like that is that video has just become the way of it. Podcasts have become the way of it. We need to multitask. So like I said, when I get up and exercise, I've got podcasts going through my earbuds every morning. That's an important product to have to help your clients, to educate your clients, to communicate to your clients. Having a YouTube channel, having a video narrative in a world full of video narratives, it's something that is necessary for us to use. And so I found it to be not at all difficult to put up marketing resolution on YouTube. I encourage my clients and colleagues to do the same. It's free, it's easy to use, and my husband, who has this lovely French accent, he refers to it as le YouTube Université, YouTube University. Because anything you want to learn, anything you want to know about is on YouTube.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
It's a great resource. And like I said, it's really easy to use. So.
Yeah. Well, YouTube want us to, like us, we want to be easy to use, and so does YouTube. They want people to be posting and creating channels. So.
Yeah, and it's all about accessibility. And so being accessible in multiple different ways will allow for clients to learn about you in whatever way is best for them. So, for example, I'm an auditory learner.
Yeah.
I will admit to you now that I didn't crack a book in university because that's not how I learn. I learned by going to lectures and discussion groups. And so I passed with outstanding grades simply by showing up and participating, because I'm an auditory learner. Others of us need to have a book and a highlighter in hand and go through it. If that's your method, there are lots of books and lots of resources that you can use. If you are like a lot of people now and you want this video narrative experience, then you need to provide your clients a YouTube channel. You need to provide them this gateway to you. And so think about the psychographic nature of your primary target market and give that to them. Make yourself accessible in that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a great way as a mediator, because if you're putting out, fair and reasonable and appropriate content, it's not biased. It's just, educating your clients. So you talked about what Joyce is doing with a guide, but you could just as easily have little content chunks of video for clients to prepare.
Exactly right. Another client of mine out of the United States, Rachel Verk, she wrote The 4 Ways of Divorce. And this is a book that she provides her divorcing clients so that, again, they can read about why we get divorced, how divorce happens, what your response can be, how do you talk to your children about a divorce, what do you do with assets, how do you find a professional, do you need a lawyer, do you need a mediator, what is it that you need? And so it's a small, easy read that provides people who are in that horrible situation a list of things to think about and things to do and things to prepare for themselves so that they can best respond to a horrible situation.
Yeah, no, that's wonderful. So, look, I don't want to go. I'd love to stay and chat all evening, but all morning for you, I'd imagine. Thank you very, very much for sharing your time and your expertise with our listeners. I'll be putting up links to to your site and also to your channel. I wasn't aware that you've launched already, so I'll definitely be checking it out as well and letting people know, because it is such a very, very important topic for dispute resolution professionals, because if we don't market, we don't work, and if we don't work, we're not changing the world and helping people.
Exactly right. So it's important that we remember to, in a non-selfish way, we need to help ourselves first so that we can continue helping others. And our industry is just chock-a-block full of really good humans.
Absolutely.
We just need to become really good business people too.
That's a very, very good place to end on. We need to be really, really good humans who are very good business people as well.
Exactly. Well, Joanne, thank you so much for inviting me to chat with you today. I always enjoy talking to you, and I look forward to our next conversation.
Thank you. The same here. I hope you enjoyed this conversation with Natalie as much as I did, and that you've made a bit of a list of some of the things that you can do to improve your professional practice. Make sure you like or follow or whatever's the appropriate thing where you've accessed this recording, so that you get a heads up on future Mediator Musings podcasts that we release. I'm Joanne Law. Take care till next time. Goodbye.